All right, shalom, shalom to the nation of Israel, shalom. All right, this is your brother Kazakia out of Great Millstone, New Orleans, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai, right? But prior to getting started, we want to give our infinite honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Harakakadash. Double honor to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, all right? And the title of today's lesson is going to be Balance in All Things, all right? That's the title of today's lesson. It's balance in all things, all right? And obviously, what you see here is, two things being weighed within a balance, right? First, on the left-hand side, you have the Bible, right? The Holy Scriptures. And then on the right-hand side, you have coins there, which is, in so many words, in representation of money, okay? And within this truth, you got to have balance, all right? Now we know that goes without saying that, when a time comes that the scriptures will supersede that money in so many words, man, okay? But as far as, giving your time to Yahweh Shem Shai and doing the things that's necessary also to just to sustain yourself, right? Because you don't want to, overdo it, especially on the right hand side, okay? When it pertains to money, and because, there have been people, even within this truth, that's fallen out, over a few dollars, right? Whether, they've won some money, okay, and decided not to, worship, Yahweh Shem Shai, in so many words, neglect the Lord, all right, move on to just being, into the world, okay, and dabbling back into folly and madness, okay, and some people, like I said, some people may have gotten another, well, we know, so-called job or gig where it's paying, more money, but it requires you to basically leave your post, man. Okay, leave your spot, within the faith. You're no longer coming out on the weekends, right? Doing the works of Yahweh Shem Shai, and you basically, ultimately fall back into the world, man. Okay, and there's a multitude of reasons on, different people basically being, laid away from this truth when it comes to dealing with money. Now, like I say, that goes without saying because, like I said, we need to also work to, to provide for the things that we need to provide for, right? Some brothers, may have families. That's, possible, whether, he may, brother may have a wife, brother may have children, right? And other brothers too that also don't have those, things or elements or whatever. They still have to be able to work to have a roof over their head and basically daily essentials, which, that's all we need within this ministry, man. No one's looking or should be looking really to be just, filthy rich, over on this side and, have all the money, you know, in a, basically what they say in the world, all the money in the world and, and have this wisdom too as well, because we know when the kingdom of heaven comes, and Lord willing, we be of that number, we're going to have everything that we need. You know, these, these things, we seek for in today's time, it's not going to be profitable, right? It's not really going to mean anything, okay? Because the Israelites, they're not going to be working, okay? When I say Israelites, I mean you so-called black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole, Indian, man, woman, and child. Okay, and to, the Gentiles. All right, you Israelite foreigners that are living in other lands, whose lineage line, fathers' lineage line goes back to that of the nation of Israel. Okay, and we're gonna get a few precepts real quick. Okay, you know, let's go here first. Okay, I'll actually go to this one real quick. This is Proverbs 11 and verse 1. It says, "A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight." Right? And we'll catch the same one in the GNT. See what it says. It says, "The Lord hates people who use dishonest scales. He is happy with honest weights." Right? And like I said, man, you just got to be balanced. Okay? Not too much on one side, not too much on the other side, but just keep an even kill. Okay? And you'll be all right. All right? You know, that's Salakia. Actually, it's verse 4. All right, this is Proverbs 11 and 4. It says, "Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death." Okay, so while you out, trying to basically run the streets, all right, working hard, right, working your butt off, and trying to get the bag, okay, that's not gonna bear any relevance when it comes time, to be judged by Yahweh Shema Shai, man. When it comes time to be judged by the Lord, okay, the Lord don't care how much money you had in your bank account, right? Okay, he doesn't care about your social status, right? Your status within society, and he doesn't care about your accolades. Okay, he doesn't care whether you was a doctor or a lawyer or somebody that was renowned within society, right? The only thing he's going to care about is, did you do the will of the Father, man? Okay, did you do the work? Okay, did you keep the law, statutes, commandments to the best of your capabilities? All right. These are the things that the Father, is going to be looking for, man. All right. All right, let's go to this here. This is Matthew 6 in verse 24. Actually, we're going to kind of jump up just a little bit here. This is Matthew verse 6 and 19. It says, lay not up for yourself treasures upon earth, where moth and rust do it corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust do it corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. Okay, it says, for where your treasure is, there will be your, there will your heart be also. Okay, so our mind is focused on what? It's focused on the kingdom, man, right? It's focused on knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. It's focused on growth, right? It's focused on communication, doing the will of the Father. It's focused on so many different things, right? There's so many levels to this truth. There's so many levels to, understanding, right? There's always something to do within the truth. That's where our focus should be at. And like I said, I'm not saying, obviously that you cannot work or you shouldn't be doing none of those things, but we're talking about just balance here, okay? You gotta, you gotta be balanced, or, practice balance, as much as, you possibly can, man. All right, and I'm going to jump down here to verse 24. It says, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon, right? You can't serve Yahweh Shema Shai and money, man. It just doesn't happen that way, okay? All right, I'm going to read the same verse real quick in the GNT. It says, you cannot be a slave of two masters. You will hate one and love the other. You will be loyal to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money, right? You can't be a servant, right? We got to serve the Lord, man. Okay? If you're a servant to money, the things of the Lord, okay, you're going to, put to the wayside, man. Okay? And when you do that, the Lord comes in and do what, man? He comes in and takes the spirit from you, right? And then you find yourself back into the world, dibbling, dabbling, doing all kinds of, in so many words, unrighteous things, man. Okay? And, that's not what you want, right? You want to do things that are, righteous, right? All right, this is Proverbs 16 and verse 8. It says, better is a little with righteousness than great revenues without righteousness or without right, okay? All right, and we're going to read the same verse in the GNT. It says, it is better to have a little honestly earned, than to have a large income dishonestly gained, right? And, that's obviously the truth, man. Man, you want to, make sure that you all, you are gaining money in a righteous manner, is what this scripture's talking about. You don't want to gain money without, doing it the wrong way. Because there are people that do that too, okay? There are people that do gain a lot of money, but they're not doing it in a righteous manner, okay? They're not doing it the right way, right? You get caught up in some stuff. You're right. All right, let's move on to the next precept. All right. Let's go here. All right, this is Wisdom of Solomon 7 and verse 7. It says, wherefore I prayed, and understanding was given me. I called upon God, and the spirit of wisdom came to me, right? So we call upon Yahweh Shema Shai, right? That's what keeps us in the scriptures, right? The Lord sends the comforter, right? The spirit to come and have us do the things that we do in the first place, because without the spirit, we would be consumed, man, okay, by what was on the right-hand side here, just going back to it, okay? Without the Lord and the spirit, right, those shekels, those gold coins on the right-hand side is something that could consume us, man, right? We get, heavy off into, working, making the money, right? Like I said earlier, getting the bag, worried about a status or status quo in society and things of that nature, the things that come with money, okay? You worried about trying to, get the ridiculously, giant house, with a 3-car garage and a white picket fence all the way around, okay? Nah, man, our focus is on the Lord, man, and our focus is on the word, right? Like the scriptures say, where your heart is, it's like I don't want to, misquote it. I'll go back to it real quick. Right here it is. It says, Matthew 6 and 21 says, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also, right? Your mind, man. Your mind is going to be focused on what? And should be focused on the kingdom of heaven, man. Making it out of here, right? We all want to get out of Babylon the Great, which is a.k.a. America. This place is set by the Heavenly Father to be set ablaze, man. Okay, it's going to be turned completely into a giant desert, right? An example of what not to do when it comes down to Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay. All right, let's read Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 7 again. It says, wherefore I prayed, and understanding was given me. I called upon God, and the spirit of wisdom came to me. I preferred her before scepters and thrones, and esteemed riches, nothing in comparison of her. Right? So there's nothing in comparison to wisdom, man. Okay, which is likened unto a woman. All right. Okay, so these men that receive wisdom, it's like like it says, like you dwelling with a woman, man. Okay, and she's to be, entreated, right, taken care of, right, loved, right. She loves you, so in so many words, you love her back. Okay, she'll reciprocate the same feelings. Okay, but the point is, right here in verse 9, it says, neither compared I unto her any precious stone, because all gold in respect of her is as a little sand, right? And it says, and silver shall be counted as clay before her. All right. And like I said, this is going into wisdom, which is something that we receive from out of the scriptures. But it said all gold is counted to her as a little sand, and all in the same, in like manner, with silver, man. So, be balanced, right? But, get your scriptures in, man. Okay. Get your knowledge in, get your understanding, your wisdom in, right? You're going to need this, right? The scriptures tell you that knowledge and wisdom, right? Right. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy, let's get that so I don't misquote it. Right. Oh, wrong slide here. All right. This is was so like it says, Isaiah 33 and verse 6, it says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Right. So what's going to keep you stable? Okay. The understanding of these scriptures, that's what's going to keep you stable. The money's going to fail, right? The money's going to, it's going to crash, especially, the so-called, America dollar, the economy, everything is just going to crash, man. Right. And they're going to come up with this new digital infrastructure, okay? Merging man with machine, technology, AI, okay? It doesn't say gold and silver would be your what would keep you stable, man. It says wisdom and knowledge. That's the point. And it says and strength of salvation, right? Okay, and it says the fear of the Lord is his treasure, right? We talked about, laying up those treasures in heaven, man. All right. It says G&T and gives stability to the nation. He always protects his people and gives them wisdom and knowledge. Their great treasure is their reverence for the Lord, man. Okay, so we reverence Yahweh Shem Shai, right? We love the Lord. We give the Lord his time so we get the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And Lord willing, the Lord continues to sup with us, and have us grow in the spirit, like I said earlier, so we could get out of here. Many scriptures, going into, the deliverance, of the nation of Israel. Okay. But like I said before, there's a scale, all right, and all things are weighed in a balance. So just, be balanced, But, that's all I have through the spirit and power, Yahweh Shem Shai. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, first and foremost, to the hopeful elect. But prior to getting out of here, we want to give all infinite honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Harakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who will and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, all right? Kwam Yasha Allah, Ababa Ball, and Shalom.